At the beginning of the movie, we see a father and son fishing together. They're having a great time and return home in high spirits. Kale gets behind the wheel when suddenly... Kale and his father survive, but they don't have time to get out of the car. At that moment, a pickup truck crashes into them at insane speed. Kale barely manages to crawl out of his seat and, once outside, realizes that his dad didn't survive the second collision. A year passes. In Spanish class, Kale doesn't even try to hide that he's sleeping. When the teacher asks him to talk about his summer plans, he can't put two words together. Then the teacher brings up a painful question about his father, which makes Kale snap.
No, Kale, no.
The teen ends up in court. By law, he could face up to a year in juvenile detention. But the judge takes the tragedy with his father into account and decides to give him a second chance. Kale is placed under 3 months of house arrest. He's given a special ankle monitor that flashes red if he even steps a bit outside his home's perimeter. If he tries to escape or tamper with it, a police squad will immediately show up. And the most ironic part, the officer on duty is Gutierrez, who just happens to be the cousin of that same Spanish teacher. Soon after his unexpected isolation begins, Kale finds out that his mom has blocked his PlayStation and music services.
Are you crazy?
That's dramatic.
His best friend Ronnie barely talks to him anymore because he's hanging out with girls on summer break. Kale distracts himself with chores like laundry and dishwashing, but it doesn't really help. Everything changes when Kale sees his new neighbor. He stands by the window, jaw dropped, admiring the pretty girl, when suddenly someone knocks at the door. He runs to open it, but there's no one there. Just a very strange package. Kale looks up and realizes the neighborhood kids are pranking him. They're sure he won't do anything back, so they tease him. But Kale loses patience and runs after them. When the bracelet flashes red, he rushes back into the green zone, but Officer Gutierrez still shows up. Kale isn't arrested, but if it happens again, he'll have to go back to court. While lying on the grass, Kale notices the neighbor girl is watching him too. Finally, Ronnie comes over after returning from vacation. Kale shows him his new hobby, spying on the neighbors, especially one girl in particular. Ronnie dares him to go talk to her. The next day, Kale does exactly that. That evening, Kale watches a news story about a man who's been kidnapping women, driving a dented blue Mustang. Later in his room, he hears the sound of a car pulling up. He realizes it's the blue Mustang and rushes to the window. He sees his neighbor pulling black bags out of the car and driving into the garage. The car has a huge dent, just like they described on TV. The next day, Ronnie comes over again. They figure out that the details of the missing girl in their town are eerily similar to 3 kidnappings that happened in Texas 3 years ago. But then the boys get distracted by something much more interesting. Ronnie gets so carried away staring at Ashley that he accidentally bangs the binoculars against the window, loudly. The boys duck, but when they peek back out, they realize the girl saw them. As the boys panic and argue, someone rings the doorbell. It's Ashley. She casually asks what they're up to and suggests hanging out. The guys can't believe their luck. Back in the room, they quickly try to clean up, but Ashley still notices the binoculars near the window. She asks if Kale is spying on the neighbors, so the friends quickly tell her everything they know about the suspicious Robert Turner and his blue Mustang. Ashley laughs at them, but out of curiosity decides to look through the binoculars herself. Right then, the Mustang pulls out of the garage, but the dent is gone. Kale insists the sneaky neighbor probably had it repaired. But the newbie spy spots something strange in the garage, longhorn skulls on the walls. You know which state is famous for them? That's right, Texas. And where's the killer from? Texas? Now Ashley is genuinely intrigued. She stays with the boys and reads online about the past kidnappings. At some point, Ronnie falls asleep, and Kale and Ashley are left alone. They flirt and open up about their lives, until suddenly the blue Mustang returns next door. And not alone, there's a red-headed woman in another car. Kale and Ashley start watching how the evening unfolds in the neighbor's house. Now, they have not just binoculars, but also a powerful zoom camera Ronnie brought over. They notice the neighbor pulling out a knife and holding it in his hands.
Did you see that? Are you zooming in a little?
But as it turns out, he was just trying to cut the tag off a dress. They start kissing, and there's some clear tension between Kale and Ashley, too. Kale even kicks Ronnie out so he doesn't miss his chance, but...
Hi, Mom.
Ashley quickly rushes home and closes the blinds in her room. Kale has no choice but to watch other neighbors and sit in boredom, but suddenly he hears screams coming from Turner's house. He walks over to the window and sees the red-headed woman trying to escape, while Robert won't let her leave. Kale picks up the camera to zoom in on the scene, but accidentally hits the wrong button, and the flash goes off. A few seconds later, Kale gathers his courage and looks through the binoculars again. This time, he sees Turner's face in the window, staring directly at him. Kale is distracted by a call from Ronnie, and when he turns back around, the red-headed woman is calmly driving away in her car. The next morning, Kale heads to the kitchen to make breakfast and suddenly bumps into Turner. He starts to panic, but then his mom shows up and explains that Robert helped her inflate a tire in the supermarket parking lot. Turner is overly polite, while Kale responds aggressively because he knows the neighbor is hiding something. When Turner suggests having dinner with his mom sometime soon, Kale completely loses it. Later, Kale finds out Ashley is having a party at her place, which makes him even more upset, since he's stuck on house arrest. That evening, he spies on the party with his binoculars, even though Ashley specifically asked him not to. He sees his crush getting cozy with some guy and glancing toward his window. Kale gets angry, then drags his music system onto the roof and blasts it at full volume. Furious, Ashley climbs through Kale's window and shuts off the player. They start arguing. When Kale mentions that she was teasing him with her looks, Ashley realizes he was watching her the whole night. Kale tries to explain. He tells her how much he admires her cute habits and her love of literature. Unexpectedly, this touches Ashley, and she kisses him. They go into Kale's room and lie together on the bed, but the girl suddenly hears a strange noise. They rush to the window and see Turner carrying a bloody bag into his garage. The next day, the trio decides to pull off a secret operation. While Ashley follows Turner at the supermarket, Ronnie is supposed to sneak into the neighbor's second car and open the garage door. Kale stays in his room to coordinate everything. Everything seems to be going according to plan, but then Turner suddenly throws down the shovel he was holding in the store and disappears. Ashley drops her phone, and the call disconnects. When she calls Kale back from the parking lot to explain what happened, Ronnie hurriedly gives Kale the garage code, since they won't have time to open it themselves. Meanwhile, Turner gets into Ashley's car and calmly asks her to stop spying on him. He makes it clear he knows what the three of them are up to, and tells her he values his privacy. Finally, Ashley returns to Kale's house and tells him what happened. The guy immediately suggests calling the police, but she refuses. She says Turner didn't actually do anything, and they were violating his right to privacy. They realize things have gone way too far. That evening, Kale continues the investigation alone. He tinkers with the video camera and builds a device that can stream the image to his TV in real time. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. It's Ronnie, his voice trembling as he tells Kale that he dropped his phone in Turner's car. But Kale is thrilled. It's the perfect chance to test the new setup and find out what Turner is hiding. So, Ronnie heads to the neighbor's garage. He quickly finds the phone inside, then tries to look into the mysterious bags. But as soon as he opens one of them slightly, the camera falls, and the garage door begins closing. Kale sees his friend running through Turner's rooms, waving his arms. The camera image shakes and eventually cuts off completely. Despite the ankle monitor, Kale sprints to the neighbor's house and tries to open the doors. The front door turns out to be unlocked, but he doesn't get the chance to go inside. A patrol car shows up. Kale yells to the officers that the homeowner kidnapped his friend and is trying to kill him. Officer Gutierrez is skeptical, but eventually asks his partner to check the house. They head into the garage to find out what's inside the bags. The officers bring Kale home and tell his mom that tomorrow he'll have to appear in court for a second violation. And the neighbor has every right to file charges. When the officers leave, Kale's mom starts yelling at him. Despite his protests, she decides to talk to Turner so he won't press charges. Kale once again starts watching the neighbor's house. Suddenly, he gets a text saying, "Check your TV," and on the screen appears the image of dead Ronnie. But soon it turns out Ronnie had been hiding in the storage closet the entire time to avoid the police, and was just pranking his friend. Ronnie goes to the bathroom and leaves Kale a recording he made inside Turner's house. Kale doesn't know what to look at, the neighbor's window or the screen, but then he notices a strange ventilation grate in the footage and finally opens his computer. He zooms in and sees something that looks like a skull. Meanwhile, Turner walks Kale's mom to the door, then knocks her out right before she leaves. Kale realizes he's just found real evidence and yells for Ronnie. But Ronnie doesn't make it upstairs. Turner hits him on the head. Moments later, the killer appears on the top floor and starts chasing Kale. The boy dodges his attacks, runs outside, and tries to escape, but doesn't make it. Turner ties him up, tapes his mouth, and drags him back to the second floor. There, he sees the footage from the camera and explains his plan. Kale will write a letter to Ashley, confessing that he killed his best friend out of jealousy and murdered his mother because she always blamed him for his father's death. The man hands Kale a pen and paper, but the boy doesn't get a chance to start writing. A woman's voice calls out, and Turner turns around. Kale elbows him and runs toward Ashley, but the tough Robert gets up immediately and grabs a knife. A fight begins. Ashley manages to injure the killer's eyes, and Kale pushes him off the second floor. The pair barricades themselves in a room. Ashley tries to call 911, but Kale says the phone isn't working. He needs to step outside the green zone. While they try to figure out how to escape the house, Robert starts smashing down the door with a metal pipe. Ashley and Kale run across the roof and jump straight into the pool. Kale grabs garden shears and breaks into Turner's house. In the big room, he notices a massive dresser and pushes it aside. Behind it is a vent grill, which he breaks open. No one answers his shouts, so Kale decides to check the hidden passageway using a lamp. Suddenly, from far away, he hears strange sounds. He follows the noise, tapping the walls as he walks. He comes across a procedural room that looks like a morgue, an autopsy table, tools, documents of missing girls. Meanwhile, Officer Gutierrez enters Turner's house searching for the runaway detainee and is killed instantly by the hidden killer. Kale moves the cabinet full of evidence in the procedural room and discovers yet another secret passage. The noise he heard earlier is coming from there. He climbs down and examines the basement, but suddenly the boards beneath him collapse and he falls. Kale lands in some kind of liquid and realizes he's surrounded by the bodies of dead girls. Barely holding on, he climbs out and follows the sound. Finally, he finds his mother hanging from a hook with her hands tied. Kale cuts the rope with the garden shears, but a fight breaks out. Robert raises the knife and nearly kills Kale, but at the last second, his mom grabs a tool and pierces the killer's arm. Kale uses the moment and wounds Turner with the shears, then throws him into the water with the other corpses. Kale and his mom escape the monster's lair. Soon the police come to their house to cut off Kale's ankle monitor and end his punishment early. Finally, Kale can step beyond the edge of his yard, and nothing stands in the way of his romance with Ashley anymore. Well, except Ronnie, who now never lets go of his video camera. Drop in the comments what you would do if you were in the main character's place.